Hi, Power Sports and Motorsports World. It's Jen Schrader here. I'm going to talk about some really good information about the lifeline of your dealership. It's probably one of the most important ones. So today I have with me is Larry Bruce, the tech exec, CEO, entrepreneur, and co-founder of PSX Digital. And as our big discussion is a database 101, he is the man to go for the answers. So we're talking about a series of the Database 101 for Power Sports Playbook. So, Larry, I've got some good questions for you. The first and foremost, what is data enhancement?
Well, data enhancement is everything you don't know about your data, what we would call a blind spot. And, when a customer comes in on your showroom floor, I know they were here. I know what time and date and time that they were here generally. I know when they buy something, what they bought. I know, when they bought it. But that's about it. That's kind of all I know about my customers from my CRM and my DMS. And to really get down into that personalization, to really get down into segmenting at a very advanced level, and to really help your store talk one-to-one with your customers, talk to your customers rather than talk at them, you're going to need more. So data enhancement takes, first and foremost, getting more of my customers to be able to talk to a multi-channel. I want to be able to talk to them through email. I want to be able to talk to them through text. I want to be able to talk to them through direct mail. I want to be able to do all three. And I want to do them in the proper sequence and the right way. So in order to do that, I've got to have more emails. I've got to have more mobile numbers. I've got to know the numbers I have, whether or not they're mobile numbers or not. So there's, those are the easy parts, right? Then you get into the more in-depth things. It would be helpful if I knew my customer's occupation, and it would be helpful if I knew whether or not they were a homeowner or not, their income, their current credit score, their education level. All of these things help personalize a message and talk to that customer rather than at that customer. So that enhancement adds things like mobile number, email address where I don't have it. It adds things like income, occupation, education, all of this information. So I get this 360-degree view of my customer. And then I can take that data and that 360-degree view, and I can look for commonalities across all of my customers or my very best customers. And generally what I would tell you to do is look at your sales and service combined customers. Those people that bought from you and also regularly do service business with you, those are my best customers. So look at that, and then take that data enhancement and create a golden record. This is my average, this is what my best customer looks like. Okay. And then go find more of those. So, the data enhancement helps you do all of those things. And without data enhancement, you're really sitting up here at the top level at the very best with some rudimentary segmentation, talking kind of not at them, but a little bit, and kind of not to them, but a little bit. So you're kind of in and out, you're got 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Okay, so it's kind of like stalking in a way, in a not so stalky way with that golden record, because you have so much information.
Right. Stalking them, what you're doing is I want them to be relevant. I want to be relevant.
Yes.
I don't want to stick something in your inbox that wouldn't have a very good chance of you to want to
No, I definitely agree. And I think that's really good, especially when you go into, the power sports dealership or even any type of industry. And, I've done business with them before. It's kind of a pain in the rear to actually have to go through and repeat everything. For example, like ABC Warehouse, that we have one guy that we've done business with for about 14 years. But when we walk in the door, he already knows, he remembers, what kind of products he sold us for all of our appliances. So, if we need something new, he can easily run over there. But let's say he got, your famous terms, hit by a bus, and no one else has that information. And if they did have that information, they're able to tell, like, hey, that's what, all their appliances. I know it's kind of off track of the subject, but, they know all of the appliances that I had, so they know what an easy replacement is or what I need to upgrade to. So it kind of falls in line. The same thing with power sports. We have the XP1000. Whatever.
Right, so well, you have in power in any dealership situation, you have a CRM. And then, that CRM houses a lot of information about what the interactions your sales force, assuming that they're putting it in, right? The interactions your sales force is having with that customer, right? Mm-hmm. And the interactions that your desk or your F&I and basically what's happening on the floor, and maybe what's happening from a standpoint of when they reached out from a lead or from a phone call, if you're lucky. And you need that information. That information, it helps out a great deal on the other end. But that is transactionally, and that's really transactionally happening and at the sales level. What I'm talking about is more from a marketing level, and from a marketing level, I want to be able to see my customers and talk to them differently based on their level of education, based on whether or not they're a homeowner or not, based on their credit score, based on where they live in my primary marketing area. A guy who's at the edge of my primary marketing area, 30 miles away, I'm going to have to talk to differently than the guy that's 3 miles away.
True.
And the guy that the edge of my primary marketing area but has done, has bought 6 bikes from me and regularly comes by once a quarter for service. Well, I talk to him much differently than the guy who's at the edge of my marketing area, only bought a bike from me, and that's it. So there's a whole lot of different nuances in how much of an offer, what types of offers you make to these people based on all of these factors. So, you don't want to talk to these people all the same way. So that's where that data enhancement helps you by looking at not just the demographic things that you can find out, but also looking at inside your DMS and what's their loyalty score. From looking at from your CRM, what's their loyalty score with you? What's their what's their current status with their warranty? What are they current? Do they currently have equity or not? All of these things also play a part in how you enhance data, because I can enhance data with outside data sources, but I can also enhance data with calculations inside my system. If your system's set up right, you want to enhance data calculations like, do they have equity or not? Can you trade them out and put them in the same payment or lower than something else? These are all data enhancements too. So data enhancement doesn't just pertain to what I can append to a record, but also what I can calculate on or what I can find out about a record based on how they interact with me as a dealer.
Okay. No, and that makes sense. So what can a dealership benefit from, by having not just his management team, be aware of data enhancement or what needs to be done, but also keeping everyone else in the know of how important data enhancement really is, going forward, once they're getting more educated about the segmenting, the database and whatnot, will it benefit the dealership as a whole if they're aware of it?
It can. You might, and it depends on how you set things up. But sure, you could use. I've used data enhancement before to prioritize leads and look at existing customers versus customers that have not done business with me or potential customers that are reaching out. In a lead, obviously that existing customer, you want to move the priority of that existing customer up. They're more likely to buy from you. You can utilize the data enhancement to look at if they're close. If you've got a potential customer that has not bought from you but are close to your golden record, you can also look at that way. So at the floor level, there's a lot of ways to use data enhancement to prioritize how you engage customers. Or when you engage customers, or what customers you engage with, and how often you want to follow up. Because sometimes not all, I have a favorite saying, not all leads are created equal. This is when you get into that. Not all of those leads are created equal. Some of those leads are have far more priority than others, and you use data enhancement there to do that. But from a marketing standpoint, you're really utilizing data enhancement to talk to that customer rather than at them.
Okay, so what is the value to you in your mind? Just kind of, give it off to any of the viewers or whatnot, but what is the true value of data enhancement?
Well, the true value of data enhancement is that 360-degree view, to be able to understand not just that you're an existing customer or a potential customer, but that you're an existing customer who fits my golden record or completely doesn't, and you live on the edge of my PMA. If I've got a certain amount of budget that I can only interact with, well, then I'm not going to interact with you, or I may choose not to send. If I'm going to say, if all I can do is send direct mail, you might not be one of those guys that gets a direct mail. I might continue to try to get your email and interact with you that way. If in fact there is an offer to be made, I might make more or less of an offer to you because you're less likely to come in than more. Or I might make more of an offer to you because you're less likely to come in. I might hit you harder. I might hit you more times or interact with you more often than I would somebody closer to my golden record because you're less likely to come in. Depends on it depends greatly on what we're looking at. But there's a lot of different factors that play about or that increase that value, but it all comes down to how you interact with that customer as the value, and that helps you plan out that marketing strategy. So
right.
It all comes down to that the marketing strategy and your budget, and this helps you squeeze the very most out of your budget, which is the biggest value of all of that.
Oh, of course, and definitely. I mean, so with a dealer having, a better understanding of, customer data, data hygiene, segmenting customers with the proper messages, especially because you don't want to blast them with everything at the same time. And then, with the data enhancement, with this arsenal of knowledge at hand, or basically in their pocket, how can this really help a dealer succeed more effectively long term if they have those, again, what we said earlier in the first series portion is starting from the basics of understanding those smaller things that we always, we're so used to it. We kind of like overlook it at times, but at times we have to reel ourselves back and actually look at those basics. Is this going to help a dealership succeed more effectively knowing those tidbits of information?
Well, it's all about customer. You cannot grow if you don't retain a percentage of your customers. You've got to gain and retain customers in order to grow. Right. So customer retention is a huge thing for you as a dealer. It's probably the number one thing from you in your marketing standpoint, because you can retain customers easier than you can gain them. So, but in order to retain them, I can't just blast and keep talking at them and just, be a talking head. I've got to give them valuable information. So to retain them, because it's too easy now for a customer just to go somewhere else. It's too easy. I mean, literally think about it as a dealer. Your competitors are minutes away from your customer.
Yeah.
Literally, all they have to do is sit down at their computer and type in Power Sports Dealership in my town, and I'm going to get all of them.
Yeah. So you got to really stand out.
So you've got to, it's not so much you got to stand out, but you got to have value. You got to have more value than me just typing up on my computer and finding the one I want, typing up on my phone and finding the one I want. It's not even, I can dial up, find, I can get what I want, when I want it, anytime I want it. Bottom line as a customer. And it's too easy.
It is.
So you have to raise your game as a dealer. You're going to have to raise your game. Power sports dealers are going to have to raise their game. If this whole little lockdown didn't show you that, then I don't know what will.
Yeah, and I remember seeing like a topic about that. If you're not coming out of this lockdown with any kind of additional knowledge or information, you did not do your job, basically. It's really hard just kind of reel back and just being at home. There's so many things that you can do to educate yourself. And with the next series that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming calls is, you're definitely a digital marketing strategy, which is a huge thing right there. And then also on top of it, which is the icing of the cake, is, converting those leads, converting that information and that high value traffic. So Larry, thank you again. If you do have any more questions about our topic or want to suggest any topics, you can email us at sales@powersportsx.com, or you can visit us at psxdigital.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see the contact us. Just submit your information with some questions or comments. Or if you feel chatty and want to give us a call and talk about our product, you can call us at 844-779-3444. Thank you again, Larry. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks.